Our tastes in film may seem destructive, but this is a productive dialogue. Damn it, your mother ate my dog.
What a wonderful theme song.
So good.
That never gets old. Dude, where's my podcast? The name of this podcast, episode 29. Dude, where's my podcast? It's coming out a little bit later this week. Because I guess Jesse had some family emergency. You want to talk about that?
No, we can keep that in, to ourselves. That event that did not happen that you made up just now.
Episode 29. Dude, where's my car? It's kind of a late night Friday podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Anything goes. If you've seen the movie, that's certainly the case.
Anything goes. Yeah.
Anything goes.
I got a couple beers in me. I am ready to just talk about this excellent film that we watched.
I have a feeling that we're going to talk about this excellent film that we watched very little. There are actually I have some good trivia tidbits about it.
That's excellent.
But otherwise, I really don't think it's going to be a long talk on Dude, Where's My Car?
I am sort of leaning towards that assessment, yes.
This episode 29, is also kind of a segment-free episode. I have no segments prepared. I do have. I did yesterday. I got a few new scam emails. They both came. Pretty much one right after the other, but they're pretty much the same kind of idea as the ones I got before. So I'm not going to worry about it.
Okay, we'll keep those sort of.
Yeah, the scam update of the week is I'm getting again. They're still looking for my money.
Well, that's exciting because then as they start rolling in again, we might get some new ones. They're seeing the popularity of the podcast, and they got to get in so they know that they get a little bit more exposure, if you will.
That is a good point because I've been getting some scam emails, but I'm also getting these scam text messages. I got a few of them this week as well, where it's like, "Oh, your Netflix associated to this phone number is you got to pay your bill," but I just delete them. I didn't even think of including it in my scam update of the week, but
we're gonna have to move over to the whole text format, perhaps, on this segment in the future.
Oh, that's right. So last episode 28, you're talking about a big trip you went on. We're gonna go on. That last weekend. You have any updates from your big trip down south?
Down south to good old America. Yeah, I went on a little trip to Seattle, or I guess it was Washington State. I don't even think we really made it into Seattle, the city itself. But it was for an outrigger race. It's basically just like a type of canoeing that I do. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. We sort of rented a house with all our teammates. We won our category at the race. And it was just like a lot of fun to do a different race. I've done so many races that I've done, like 3 or 4 times before. I just enjoy doing ones I've never done before, and this was one of them.
It's always fun to win.
It's always fun to win as well.
So I noticed that you explained what outriggering is.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the people who listen to this podcast are people you've already explained what it is?
Probably like a good 90%, yes. And my go-to sort of description is, hey, do you know what dragon boating is? And like a good portion of people go, yeah, I know what that is. And I go, it's kind of like that, but with less people.
It's like nothing like that, though. To be fair.
Yeah, I mean, but it gives them sort of a picture in their mind. It's like, how you paddle, like you're going forward. And because every time I go paddling, you're like, oh, like rowing. It's like, no, not like that. Like paddling, like dragon boat, kind of, but like longer distance and not as sprinty,
Isn't it kind of like kayaking? More like kayaking than it is dragon boating?
No, it's more like dragon boating. It's not like kayaking really at all, except as you go forward.
I mean, you're like in a line. Aren't you like sitting in a line? And like the boat's kind of like, okay, I'm not gonna win this.
No, I don't think so.
So that leads us to what I did this weekend.
Well, I'd love to know.
And that's picking a follower of the week for our Instagram, Your Mother Ate My Dog, the podcast. Now this weekend I sat down and I scoured our followers, and I picked a follower of the week that we kind of want to celebrate at the beginning of this episode. This week's follower of the week, Void_thing. He goes by Gareth. Looks like he has a Wales flag beside his name on Instagram. Maybe a Welsh guy, Gareth the Welsh guy. His description explains that he's a horror collector. He collects Blu-rays, DVDs, collectibles, probably of the horror genre. And then he has a little quote that I want to read to you right now.
Okay, I'd love to know it.
Nobody trusts anybody now, ... and we're all very tired. That's the quote on his Instagram.
I wonder what that could be
situation. Oh, I don't know.
If that's a Gareth original or he took that from somewhere.
Well, he has quotes around it. So
well, maybe he's just like very confident in his own quote. It's like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna quote this.
Maybe. He has 1,590 followers. He follows 2,149 people. And he just posts pictures of
horror-related things.
Horror DVDs, horror collectibles, horror Blu-rays. His last post was on March the 1st. He has a Blu-ray of Wolf Cop.
A classic.
Which it looks like you have liked. So that's how Void_thing found us.
I liked his post, and he sort of felt compelled to follow us. It's only natural.
It's only natural. That is our follower of the week, Void_thing. Another classic. But yeah, that's it for my my segments, my chapters.
Chapter segmentless episode of Your Mother Ate My Dog, the podcast.
This might be one that we just want to kind of get it over with. Just judging by how you told me you felt about Dude, Where's My Car? I think you apologized to me.
Yes, I did.
Which has never happened before.
If you weren't here for the last episode, I'm the one who chose this film for this week. You know, it's like, you know what? I grew up hearing all about this movie and people like quoting it. I was like, you know what? I got to finally watch it. And then I did. And I felt immediately compelled to message my co-host here and apologize for the decision I made. And so that's we can use that as sort of the lead-in to our official talk about this film. I mean, do you want to start this time?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, we'll start. We'll start the movie.
Well, we don't have to start. Great. I mean, you seem like... I mean, I said that, and you seemed a little apprehensive.
No. It's an 88-minute movie, not a 64-minute movie, as you...
Yeah, I don't know what was up with that. I wish it was 64 minutes.
This was one of Ashton Kutcher's first movies. He was known, obviously, at the time for playing the role of Michael Kelso in That 70s Show, which you would not have watched because you don't watch TV shows.
I caught snippets, but I didn't really like sit down and watch each episode as it came out.
He played pretty much the same role in this movie, Dude, Where's My Car, as he did in That 70s Show. Sean William Scott. Ashton Kutcher played Jesse.
Yes.
That was his name.
That was his name.
That was interesting. I was kind of hoping that Sean William Scott, the second lead, was going
to be Josh.
Yeah, exactly. but he wasn't. He was Chester. Sean William Scott, known for playing Steve Stifler in American Pie. You ever seen the American Pie movies?
I've seen maybe half of the first one.
It had just come out the year before, 1999, and blew up. Very popular movie. So you could really argue that Sean William Scott was more famous at this point than Ashton Kutcher was.
Right.
Another familiar face in this movie, which you may just let that car drive by,
Yeah. See you later.
and that one too.
There it goes.
A face that I was surprised to see in this movie was Jennifer Garner.
That was a strange one.
She seemed like she might be too big, but she played just one of the twins, like one of the love interests.
Mm-hmm.
Love interests in quotations.
Mm-hmm.
This is also one of her first movies. But she went from this movie, Dude, Where's My Car, to being in Pearl Harbor. She played a nurse in the movie Pearl Harbor with her future husband, Ben Affleck.
Mm-hmm.
And then she went from Pearl Harbor to Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right.
Daredevil, again with Ben Affleck.
Right.
And then she starred in 13 Going on 30, and then she just kind of blew up from there.
Yes.
So you could also argue that Dude, Where's My Car made Jennifer Garner into a star.
I'm glad some good came out of it, you know?
Yeah, this movie, it does have a cult following.
Right.
The Dude, Where's My Car portion, very famous. They actually stole that, I think, from The Big Lebowski.
Oh.
Dude, Where's My Car?
Where's my car, dude?
Yeah.
Dude.
That scene, and then the suite and the dude, you know, all great moments. I'm gonna leave you with one piece of trivia here, and then we can get to. I didn't really say anything whether I like this movie or not, but
Right.
I'm gonna give you a piece of trivia, and then I'll let you.
You'll hand it off to me.
How you feel.
Okay.
So when Ashton Kutcher first read the script for the film, he almost turned down the role because he found it to be very stupid.
Oh.
However, when he read the "You Got a Tattoo" scene, you know, the sweet and dude, no, yeah, he could not stop laughing and then agreed to take on the part because of that scene.
Wow. That is a decision that he made.
Also, Seth Rogen and Jake Gyllenhaal auditioned for the main roles, but they decided to go with Ashton Kutcher and Sean William Scott. Okay, now you go.
Okay, I will go. I'm going to say that you have touched upon already, and you sort of just in passing, the best part of this movie. And it was right at the very beginning.
The closing credits. Oh, sorry.
Oh, that was a highlight. At the very, very beginning, when Ashton Kutcher first appeared on screen, it had his name on screen. It was Jesse. And for about 20 seconds, I was so excited that the next character, who I knew was in this movie, Sean William Scott, that his name would be Josh. And for 20 seconds, I hoped and I prayed that it said my name on screen, and then it was going to say your name on screen. That did not happen. And that just sort of led me down a spiral of hatred, if you will, towards this film that we watched. Because, Josh, this film might just be one of the worst movies I have ever seen. It's in the running. There was...
for sure, 17%.
17 on Rotten Tomatoes. I cannot think of anything good about this movie. I'm just putting it all out there right now. I'm not going to dance around it. I hated this movie.
Okay, that's fair.
It is fair. It's correct. Everyone should think that way about this movie.
The film's story came from a rejected live-action Beavis and Butthead movie concept.
Okay. That makes sense.
There are Chinese characters on the sign for the Chinese drive-thru restaurant, where the woman on the speaker always says "and then."
Mm-hmm.
The Chinese characters read in Mandarin as "Is there anything else?" Where she says "and then." So basically, it just says Chinese food and then. On
Right.
a sequel titled "Seriously, Dude, Where's My Car?" was planned, but was never developed. And eventually, the idea was scrapped. And Ashton Kutcher even said, like only a few years ago, that he would still love to do a sequel to this movie. So
Interesting. This is one of those movies that, like, here we are in 2022, and we think of comedy films that came out around this time, around the year 2000. And you think, I might have liked it back then, but I wonder if it really holds up. Like, because the comedy, I guess, was different back then. There was more, like, things that maybe aren't so politically correct now. And for some films, you can sort of, like, see past it and get to the comedy and still enjoy it while sort of acknowledging the problems that it has. Like, immediately, I think maybe of Rush Hour, or maybe American Pie. I mean, I haven't seen the whole thing, but some of the scenes I have are pretty funny. And then, I mean, you can get there. This movie, I only see things that are like, wow, I can't believe that's in this movie. And it's like, oh, they did that and that and that. And it's like, okay, what if I look past all that? What about the parts that are supposed to be, like, funny? It's like, oh yeah, none of this is funny. Like, I don't think I laughed a single time, or barely even smiled. Like, did you find
no, this movie was not funny in the least.
it was not funny?
It made $73.2 million at the box office.
Right.
It was a successful film.
Yeah, it was successful. And it was clear to me, too, at the time that it was successful because so many people were talking about it. And, like, even when I mentioned to my coworkers that's the movie that I chose for the podcast, a lot of people, or I'd say a lot, I think maybe either 2 or 3 people, when I mentioned it, they went, and then, like, they knew that part of the movie. So it obviously had sort of like a pretty significant cultural impact. And I guess, there is those problems with the type of comedy that was in this. But then you look past those, you get just to the parts that weren't perhaps problematic. And it just did everything wrong. And one of the glaring problems that I noticed was, like, if there was a joke, they just kept trying the joke over and over again, and it just lasted too long. Like the "and then" scene, that scene was way too long, and it just wasn't funny. Like, if it was, like, started funny, it's like I can see, like, okay, like, if it starts really good, you can give it a little bit of allowance to last a little longer. But it just wasn't funny. And the same thing with the sweet dude tattoo thing. That scene was way too long. They said that back and forth like 20 times. And also, the third one I was thinking of, like, that scene, dude, where's my car? Where's my car, dude? Dude, where's your, like, it was just driving me crazy.
They ended the movie on the sweet dude tattoo thing too.
What was that?
Like, that's how they ended the movie.
Right.
Like, when they were going to the car with the twins,
You got tattooed.
Jennifer Garner was like, yeah, they did that. They said the word car in this movie 62 times.
How many times did they say the word dude? It's got to be over 100.
Maybe.
I noticed, like, in every sentence had the word dude in it.
I didn't like how when they made a joke, they like looked at the camera with a face. they all made faces every time.
There was a lot of faces, yeah. Very true.
The bully in this movie. Um, do you know what I'm talking about? The
Yeah,
big,
Tommy.
yeah, Tommy. He's Jerry O'Connell's brother. It's Charlie O'Connell. Jerry O'Connell may be best known for Kangaroo Jack. Should have watched that movie.
We should have.
Charlie O'Connell, though, he after probably like 5 years after this movie came out, he was one of the bachelors on The Bachelor.
Oh, well, that ties back to you watching The Bachelorette.
Yeah, it didn't work out for him.
Oh.
Didn't he
It didn't last long.
didn't find long term love. Well, no, like he was the Bachelor.
Oh,
Like,
I
he
forget.
was
Forgive me. I don't
was-
watch those shows.
He was the one dude that like 25.
Right,
girls
he's the
were-
one dude, and then there's all those women. Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Kangaroo
yeah, I
Jack.
didn't.
Can we talk about
Yeah.
Kangaroo Jack for a second?
I think Kangaroo Jack had. I think about that movie often because I watched it at like a time in my life, I guess, where like I was maturing.
Uh-huh.
So it was just at like a 12 or 13-year-old Josh who I just remember that movie. Like,
Yeah. Well, I
Which is-
see. I remember the name, and I know that there's like an animated kangaroo in it, but I could
Yeah,
not
they're
tell
like
you
a
a single
desert.
plot. Yeah, desert. But I could not tell you single plot point in that movie at all.
the kangaroo wears human clothes. I don't know. They have to like catch the kangaroo. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. It's one of those ones I got to
That-
revisit and be disappointed by.
That could be episode 31. That could be your movie for episode 31. Kangaroo Jack, Jerry O'Connell, Anthony Anderson.
I definitely won't be picking that, but
Should put that
I have
on.
one in mind already. But maybe I'll put that on the back burner. It's a possibility.
Near the end of the movie, when Chester solves a Rubik's Cube. Oh, also, Chester just knowing stuff. Like, I get that he watches National Geographic or whatever.
Hmm.
But just him, like, just having these smart moments because he watches it on the TV was silly. But near the end of the movie, when he solves the Rubik's Cube and almost destroys the universe,
Hmm.
it's actually not an actual Rubik's Cube because the yellow and white sides are next to each other instead of opposite, like they are in a real Rubik's Cube.
They couldn't even get that right.
Yeah, okay, well, I mean, that's all I kind of want to talk about with this movie.
Yeah, it's really not good. And you'll find if you watch, like, I know people probably have like opinions about this movie, like they remember it from their childhood. It really doesn't hold up. It's just not good.
Why was it on Disney Plus?
So weird. That's like
But
the last movie I think would be on Disney Plus.
I mean, 1 Hour Photo is also on Disney Plus. So, like, your last two movies have been on Disney Plus.
Right.
But
That is true.
all right, do you want to get to the scoring then? Should be a good one.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, this movie exceeded my expectations of being so bad.
Mhm.
How do you feel about acting? I mean, they had some pretty heavy hitters.
They did have some heavy hitters, I suppose.
Butterfly Effect.
Butterfly Effect, he was in that. I thought maybe Jennifer Garner was if I'm thinking of one performance that maybe stands out, I suppose. I mean, just the twins in general. They were like, I guess, the most interesting because they were like the acting the best.
Yeah, why did they agree to this?
I have no idea. It's so weird. And even like, that makes me think of, I bring up Hot Ones, it seems like every episode. But Jennifer Garner was on an episode of Hot Ones. And Sean Evans was like, oh, I was recently talking to your Dude, Where's My Car co-star Ashton Kutcher. And it seems to still be like, you would think if an actor or an actress was going into that into a show or any sort of interview, it always would start with, yeah, make sure you don't bring up this, and we'll be all good. I think if I was in Dude, Where's My Car, I'd be like, yeah, make sure you don't bring up "Dude, Where's My Car?" Because I'm very like I don't want to talk about that.
22 years ago. So maybe she
She's
thought
over it
they'd
by now,
forgotten.
maybe. But like you know what I mean. I think. But yeah, I guess maybe their performance was the best. I mean, I guess it's not. It is a comedy, or it was meant to be a comedy. And typically, I guess you don't really look for acting chops in a comedy film, although it does help. Um, I mean, deliverance of lines and comedic timing and all that. I mean, I do think that Sean William Scott is pretty funny. Like when I've seen him at his comedic best, I do think he is funny, but it just didn't work in this movie at all. I think acting, maybe I'd give it like a 2. It just wasn't good. I mean, it was a stupid, silly movie. Maybe I was just a little bitter the whole time because I'm like, I can't believe I chose this.
Yeah, I like John William Scott too. Like The Rundown with The Rock, he's pretty good. Role Models with Paul Rudd, he's pretty good. Ashton Kutcher, he's Ashton Kutcher. Ashton Kutcher is not great at acting.
Yeah, and he's not like I don't find him all that funny. Like his character on that '70s show is pretty low down in terms of my favorites. He's maybe he plays stupid pretty good. Like I think he's like he's convincing as a stupid person, but not so much funny.
Yeah. I said that everybody sucked at acting. There was not a single good acting performance. I gave it 1.5 out of 10.
That's fair. I was sort of grasping at straws, I suppose, a little. It's like if I were to choose one, maybe Jennifer Garner's performance, but I mean she was barely in it, and yeah, I just picked one. But that's a fair assessment.
Do you remember her character's name?
Uh, it starts with a W. It's probably like Wanda. I think it's Wanda.
Yeah, or Wilma. One of the, I don't know.
Wanda and Wilma. That's the twins.
I don't know it. For ending, what a fun, happy ending. Everything worked out for the guys.
Mm-hmm.
The movie ended. I was happy when that happened.
Me too.
I gave the ending a 2.5 out of 10.
Right. I'll just go with that. 2.5 out of 10. I don't really feel the need to go into it any more than that. It was just like an ending. It ended finally. Thank God.
Well, okay. Well, now with that, I don't know who will give the movie a higher score.
I guess this is probably going to be you, but I might be way off the mark. I don't know. Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So Rotten Tomatoes gave this a 1 or a 17%.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like 1.7.
Right.
I did think it was better than that. I did think it was better than a 17 or a 1.7. So I gave it a 1.8 out of 10.
Okay. I'm pretty close to that. Yeah. Definitely the worst movie I've seen in a long time. And like I said, it's in the running for the worst I've ever seen. Wasn't funny, wasn't well acted. A lot of cringy moments that I was like, I can't believe this is in this. I just wanted it to end. I gave it a 1 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty bad then.
It is pretty bad. Like even some bad movies, you can be like, there's like that one scene, and then one day you'd be kind of like, I kind of want to see that scene again, and you like YouTube, like, oh, let me see that scene. I'm never going to watch a single second of this movie ever again, intentionally. Anyway, I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, I really want to watch the tattoo scene again. I really want to watch the and then scene again. Yeah, I really want to watch that again. No, it's never happening.
This movie is perfect for Your Mother Ate My Dog nighttime edition, Friday night edition, because I feel like it's probably on a lot of like late night
It's got to be.
Stoner TV, 2 a.m. Dude, where's my car? I just want to see how many views that. Okay, the Dude, Where's My Car tattoo clip has 1.6 million views on YouTube. The Chinese food clip has 5 million views.
What is wrong with people?
You can rent Dude, Where's My Car on YouTube for $5.
Oh, hey, what a steal! One thing, actually, I quickly will say one more thing about the movie is like I heard people saying that it's like a stoner movie, and it's like there's one scene I'm thinking of where weed is involved at all, and it's not even the main character smoking it; it's a dog, and that scene was just like creepy and stupid, also. So I wouldn't call this a stoner movie. I mean, there's weed in one scene.
Well, I think it's only a stoner movie because they wake up after a fun night where they don't remember anything. So I guess you just kind of
Right.
assume.
But that's like
Because
The Hangover. Is that a stoner movie?
well, no, but they ate all that pudding. They ate all that pudding, and you only eat pudding when you're on drugs. or
Right.
whatever.
Pudding. A bunch of pudding.
Okay, yeah. Dude, Where's My Car? Episode 29 of the podcast. 29, definitely the worst movie we've seen.
Oh, yeah.
But I do have a movie that's guaranteed to be better than this for episode 30.
I'm so excited.
Big episode 30. So obviously there is also kind of I don't know if it's a cult classic, but some sort of classic movie or maybe from, I don't know, the 80s, 70s,
I think it's from the
the
90s.
60s, the 90s, from the last 4 decades or so. Candyman,
Mm-hmm.
which we watched on a VHS back 10 years or so ago.
Yes.
They came out with a new Candyman, starring the guy from the movie Us.
Yes.
So that's what we're going to watch for episode 30. Candyman 2021 version. I'm excited.
I'm excited for that too.
Should be good. It has almost 70% better on Rotten Tomatoes than the last movie that we watched. This one.
That is much better.
And I don't really remember what went on in Candyman, the original. So I'm pretty fresh. I'll be pretty fresh watching this movie.
Yeah, I don't really
the
remember the
next
plot
5 days.
either. I know that there's bees and a guy with a hook.
Yeah, and then you get to see the Candyman a few times or something.
Yep, something like that. Well, I'm excited for that. Guarantee of a better movie.
Yeah. So that's all I got.
Well, that's all the time we really should give to that movie, I think. I will hint maybe perhaps my next film is going to be a much more serious affair. And perhaps I went from a critically hated film to maybe a critically acclaimed film. I thought the contrast would be fun.
Schindler's List?
Not Schindler's List. I'm not sitting down for 3 hours. Although that is an amazing movie.
Is there so the only hint you're going to give is that it's people like the movie?
Yes, it won multiple Oscars and all that stuff.
What decade is it from?
It's from the 60s.
Is it black and white?
No.
It's from the 60s and it won a bunch of awards.
Although it is perhaps about black and white race relations.
Wow. Sounds like a really good one.
Yes.
Okay, well then, episode 32, maybe we'll bring out Kangaroo Jack. We'll make it fun.
That's the one.
Well, probably not, though.
No, let's not do that.
but maybe I'll go a little silly for the one after that.
Who knows what we'll do? There are so many films that exist.
Yeah, we're not even halfway there.
We're not even halfway to all the movies that ever have existed. That's true.
Okay, well, do you have any segments planned for this? Normally it's trivia, but trivia's been kind of boring the last few times. Well, okay, let's see if coffee news
Get the coffee news trivia going.
they've have better, easier questions that we can all answer, not feel dumb while doing it.
I didn't think we do too terribly with the trivia of late.
So, okay, have you ever seen the movie? Sorry, not the movie. Have you ever seen the TV show All in the Family?
No.
Okay, well, question one is, in the TV show All in the Family, what is Archie Bunker's daughter's name?
Sandy.
I feel like they would go with an A name, like Alice.
Okay.
Do you know much about bats?
About bats? I know like a pretty good amount about bats.
What are baby bats called?
Batlings. I don't know.
They're called robins.
Oh, right.
So, like Batman.
I get it.
Batman and Robin. Okay. How many watts are in a kilowatt?
1,000.
You gotta say 1,000 because of the kilo.
It
Kilo
sounds
in
right,
Canada.
doesn't it?
It does. Who was the second Prime Minister of Canada? The second Prime Minister of Canada? Obviously, the first Prime Minister of Canada was John F. Macdonald. Who was the second Prime Minister of Canada?
Sir Wilfrid Laurier.
Interesting. I don't know if he was ever a Prime Minister, but
For sure he was.
I'm just trying to think of who's on money. The Queen.
Our second Prime
Question
Minister,
5.
the Queen of England.
Who composed the 1962 piano tune Alley Cat? Who composed the 1962 piano tune Alley Cat? I'm going to say Frank Sinatra.
I don't know if he was much of a piano composer. If I'm going to guess and pick a piano composer who was alive in that time, I'll say Glenn Gould.
Did you just look that up?
No. It won't be him, but that's okay.
So those are all the 5 questions. I'll give you the answers now. So question 1, what is Archie Bunker's daughter's name? His daughter's actual name was Gloria Stivich. Gloria Stivich.
Gloria Stivich.
A little Eastern European flavor there.
Mm-hmm.
Baby bats are called pups
Oh.
or bittens.
Ah.
Pups or bittens. It's like a kitten with a P in front.
Yep.
Or pups.
Mm-hmm.
There are 1,000 watts in a kilowatt.
Nailed it.
Easy. The second Prime Minister of Canada. This is one you should have gotten, actually. Because his name is Alexander Mackenzie. You should know everything about Mackenzies.
I should, but by now.
And the pianist, the famous person who did that 1962
Alley Cat.
Alley Cat. Their name is Bent Fabric.
Oh.
Bent Fabric.
Yeah. My favorite composer from 1962 of the piano variety. Sir Wilfrid Laurier, 7th Prime Minister.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. When I said he wasn't a Prime Minister, he wasn't the first 6. He was, in fact, the 7th Prime Minister.
Yeah. I knew that's what you meant.
You may be interested to know that Justin Trudeau, the current Prime Minister, is the 23rd Prime Minister.
Yeah, that is very interesting to know.
Because it doesn't seem like you think it'd be a higher number because Canada's old and stuff.
Yep.
I have a question for you before we wrap this up.
Oh, please. What is it?
Have you ever? So you've parked and you've gone into a building, or you've done something, and then you come back out and you forget where you parked, and then you say to yourself, perhaps you're with somebody else, you'd be like, "Hey, where's my car? Have you
I
ever lost your car?"
I mean, lost, like, I guess so. You go come out of the mall and you go, am I in like this little lane or in this one? But I haven't like full out lost it and had to go on like a extraterrestrial infused journey to find it.
Have you ever seen that Seinfeld episode where they lose their car?
Yes, in the parking garage. Yes.
Yeah. What a good show. Okay, well, Jesse, that was a fun episode. We need we need these sometimes.
Yeah, just quick little, make it snappy. Most of it isn't about the movie sort of episodes.
I mean, this is a 40+ minute episode. It's hardly a snappy.
Yeah, can I say, some of our early episodes are like 20 something minutes. How did we ever do that?
You'll have to listen and find out.
I guess so. I think we exclusively talked about the movie. I think that's what it came down to.
For sure. So it's like, hey, everybody, welcome to episode 1 of My Mother and My Dad, the podcast. The movie we picked first was a movie called Primer. A lot of stuff happened that I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And then you talk, and then we're like, oh, maybe I'll give it a 5 out of 10, and then okay, bye, and then it was over. So
That was a pretty accurate description of our first episode. Definitely.
it's our most famous episode. So
Very famous. Everyone will be talking about it. Well, they already are.
yeah, so like I was walking down the street the other day
Uh-huh.
delivering mail, and somebody stopped me, and they were like, "Whoa, are you Jesse from Your Mother and My Dad, the podcast?" And I was like, no, you must have me confused with somebody else. And then I just kept walking, and I was like, whoa, it's happening.
Yeah, that's crazy. But you didn't want to like let your celebrity, out into the public, because then you just would have gotten swarmed.
Well, I didn't want to embarrass them because I'm Josh from Your Mother and My Dad, the podcast, not Jesse. So
Right.
I was like, oh, you're hardly a fan if you don't even know.
Who is who?
I'm the short one. He's the tall one. So,
And you can't,
yikes.
I mean, to be fair, our faces have not been revealed. I mean, I guess if you really tried, I'm sure I'm tagged in some of the posts. I think I am.
Literally every single one.
Every single one. I get a notification every time. You could see what I look like if you really wanted to. But don't get your hopes up.
I mean, the two people who listen to this already know what you look like, so.
That is true. I see them all the time.
Okay, well, now I guess it's time to stop talking and end the episode.
Yeah, let's do that.
This has been a fun, special Friday night episode of Your Mother and My Dad, the podcast. Dude, was my car? Maybe, dude, skip this one.
Yeah,
Don't
dude.
watch this one. Do not support a sequel. If Ashton Kutcher comes to you with a GoFundMe about a sequel, you want to be, maybe you have like you can be a bit character. You can have a line or have your name in the credits. Pass.
Yeah.
Do not support a sequel, please.
Please, for the love of God.
I'm going to tag Ashton Kutcher in this so that he knows.
Please do.
No, thank you.
Please do. I mean, he'll be I know he'd be curious of our opinions, so.
He's pretty active on social media. So.
Yeah, he's a social media guy.
He was one of my first follows on Twitter.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, like 8 years ago.
That's a long time ago. Do you have different feelings about Ashton Kutcher at this point in your life?
I don't hate Ashton Kutcher as a human being. I just don't think he's that good of an actor.
Right.
Sure, he's a cool dude. One fun fact about Ashton Kutcher before we go
Okay.
is that a year or two after this movie came out, his girlfriend was murdered
Oh.
by a man, and then recently he had to testify at the trial, and he ended up getting the man locked away for life, I think.
That is a part of his life I did not know existed.
I don't know if it was a girlfriend, but just somebody that he was like casually dating. He was supposed to go on a date with this girl, and then she didn't show up to the date, and then that's because she was being murdered. So
Well, I think that's a good place to end it.
yeah, it's a good story if you want to Google it. Okay, well, thank you so much for listening. We'll be back to our regular scheduled programming with movies that you will all love. Candyman coming up, and then a movie from the 60s. Maybe it has the 1962 Alley Cat piano song in it.
It is technically
Can't
possible.
rule that out.
Yeah.
Technically possible. Probably Frank Sinatra's in it.
Yeah.
60s. Cary Grant? I don't know. Who's an old actor? Is Marilyn Monroe in it?
No.
Robert Redford?
No.
Okay, that's enough. Well, thank you so much. Have a good night.
Okay, bye-bye.